Hey there, boils and ghouls. I'm Mr. Macabre, and welcome back to my movie library. Yeah, this is probably going to be just a pretty quick video. I just wanted to show you a couple of things I picked up today. Both of these are 4K upgrades from stuff that I had on Blu-ray. One of which you already know by the title of the video. We'll get to that in just a minute. But yeah, I actually, I've been going through some of my movies, and it turned out that I actually had a pretty decent sized pile. I was like, I'm going to take these down and take them to the record store, trade them in, see what, see what, if anything, I could get for them. And, I got enough in store credit. I was able to get two of these for no money out of pocket. And, excuse me. And I'm really, really happy. This is one that, sorry, just course, that's the way it goes. You start to make a video as soon as the camera's on. That's when, your throat starts to get dry already. But anyway, yeah. Took some stuff down, trade in, and I was able to get both of these for no money out of pocket. And so really, really happy, and upgraded these. I was surprised. They didn't have the biggest selection there at this time. I mean, a lot of stuff they had was either stuff that I didn't want or stuff that I already got. So I was happy to be able to find these things. And now I am finally happy to say that upgraded to 4K, I've got Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut from Criterion. Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, Stanley Kubrick. Yeah. For anybody that's never seen this movie, if you remember back in the, like this is, when did this come out? 1999. So yeah, this movie's got, coming close to almost 30 years old. Yeah, it's about 27 years old. So anyway, so yeah, if you were around and, you heard anything about this, it was so much fun to hear what everybody was saying about this. Everybody was all like, oh my God, the whole movie is just, Kubrick made a porno just filming, Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise. They were married at the time. The whole movie is just Kubrick filming Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise having sex. That's not what this movie's about. There is definitely an erotic element to this movie, but no, this is not at all what you think it is. It's more of a drama and stuff. But, I know that if you watch the bonus feature on here with Kubrick's widow at the time, she did not want him to make this movie. She really just... he was working on this, but he was developing what would become the Steven Spielberg movie, AI, and she just did not want him to do this movie, but he was insistent, like he wanted to get this movie made, and it was the last movie. But now I finally have it on 4K, and really, really nice to have it in my Kubrick collection. Like I said, when I got Killer's Kiss, I believe now, except for his short films and stuff, I believe I have all of his feature-length movies. Every one of Kubrick's feature-length movies, so I'm happy about that. So anyway, so yeah, finally upgraded this to 4K. I gotta be honest, I heard like people really, really boasting about the 4K transfer on here. It does look good, and you do get certain colors, like in the nighttime scenes, like when Tom Cruise is riding in a cab, like the yellow of the cab is really, really bright. The yellow really pops out and stuff. But honestly, there were scenes in this movie I thought were going to look a little bit more colorful, a little bit more vibrant. And some of the scenes in here are actually quite dark. I was like, I wasn't really expecting that. Just watching this, seeing this movie on DVD and Blu-ray, and just kind of always looked, a lot of the set decoration and stuff like that, the rooms always seem pretty well lit and everything else. It's like watching on here is like, damn, I'm kind of surprised how dark some of these scenes are, but still, really, really happy to have it. This is the, I guess you could call it unrated cut. There's like more, you see more nudity and stuff like that in the scene when Cruise's character goes into basically the, I know nowadays people, the orgy, I know nowadays people, like, oh, that, that kind of, maybe Kubrick was talking about, Epstein, and stuff like that, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I know some people have said maybe that was Kubrick trying to warn us about Epstein and what was to come and all that kind of stuff. But you know, but yeah, there were just some scenes in here that just some of the scenes like him going in, like when Cruise's character goes into some of these places, watch them on any other formats, like wow, the area is really brightly lit, but then you go and you watch on here, it's like some of the scenes do look pretty dark. But other than that, still, it's really, really nice to finally have this, and loaded with stuff. Real quick, we got the new 4K. Sorry if you've seen this, and other people have already told you what's on. If you want to, you can skip this part. But new 4K digital restoration of the international version of the film, supervised and approved by director of photography Larry Smith, with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. One 4K UHD disc of the film presented Dolby Vision HDR, and 2 Blu-rays with the film and special features. New interviews with Smith, set decorator and second unit director Lisa Leone, and archivist Georgina Orgil. Archival interview with Christiane Kubrick, director Stanley Kubrick's wife. That's where I believe she was talking about she did not want him making this movie. Never Just a Dream 2019, featuring interviews with producer Jan Harlan, Katharina Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick's daughter, and Anthony Freeman, Kubrick's personal assistant. Lost Kubrick, the unfinished films of Stanley Kubrick. Kubrick Remembered, featuring interviews with actors Todd Field and Lily Sobieski and filmmaker Steven Spielberg. Kubrick's 1998 acceptance speech for the Directors Guild of America's D.W. Griffith Award. Why? The guy made Birth of a Nation, why would you want to name an achievement award after that guy? If you know about Birth of a Nation, if you know, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, press conference from 1999 featuring Harlan and actors Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, teaser, trailer, and promos, English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, plus an essay by author Megan Abbott and a 1999 interview with filmmaker and actor Sidney Pollack, who is in the movie. But yeah, really, really happy to finally get this on 4K, add it to my collection. There you go. That is one thing. Yeah, be careful, because all the discs all have the same artwork on it. Here's the 4K disc, and here are the 2 Blu-rays. And then the inside artwork got there. Nicole Kidman sleeping with the mask, that Cruise wears when he goes to the orgy. And, yeah. You got your booklet here. So, really nice to actually finally have this. And nice, wonderful editions of, Kubrick's films on 4K, beautiful 4K and stuff. I have to admit, Nicole Kidman does look pretty damn good in 4K, I will say that. But, anyway, yeah. Really, really happy to have it. So, finally, Eyes Wide Shut on 4K from Criterion. Thank you very much. Happy about that. There we go, nice and protected. There you go. There we are. And next up, the other thing that I got, and this was for no money out of pocket. I'm surprised that Kino actually put this out, because I bought the Blu-ray, the Severin Blu-ray, so I figured if anybody was going to do this, it would have been Severin. But Kino actually ended up putting this movie out. And really happy to have it. I'm shocked. Really shocked how good this movie looks in 4K. And that is The House of Seven Corpses. Not to be confused with Rob Zombie's movie, House of a Thousand Corpses. This is The House of Seven Corpses. Okay, so not so many corpses in this. But yeah, this movie is from 1973. This is a really good... Oh, man. This is the kind of stuff, like, I watch this movie... I'm like in my comfort zone. This has like everything that I love about horror. You get all the tropes. You get, you got the great, beautiful, like but Gothic looking mansion kind of area. You got some really good character actors. You got John Ireland in here as the star of the movie. He was if you're familiar with Andy Hickok's movies, he was in Sundown, The Vampire Retreat. He played the villain in that. He played in Waxwork 2. He was in, speaking of Kubrick, he was in Stanley Kubrick's movie Spartacus with Kirk Douglas, you know. You got Faith DeMorg, who is, in This Island Earth, you know. The funny part is like when I'm watching this movie, I'm see her run away from the dead zombie and stuff like that. I keep thinking of her like trying to run away from the alien. I forget what they're called, mutant. I think that's mutant in This Island Earth, and yeah, there's that. You got John Carradine is in this movie and stuff like that, and I personally do think that. Definitely like directors like Ty West, because this movie, it's a very slow build. It runs about 88 minutes and, it almost takes an hour before, it's a very slow burn. Takes a while for it to get going, but when it does get going, man, it gets going good. And I think also, too, Rob Zombie did probably get a tiny bit of inspiration for this because, if you think about it, here... Okay, the story in this movie, if you've never seen it, the story in this movie, you have this film crew, and they're shooting this movie in this house, in this big old Gothic house where murders took place, and they're shooting this movie, and at one point, they recite this incantation, and it ends up bringing these 7 corpses to life, and they go around the house and kill the people working on the film. And it's not until almost the very end when all of a sudden the dead corpses come to life. To me, I can't help it, but it does make me think of House of a Thousand Corpses when near the end of the movie, when the Firefly family does that incantation and it brings the dead corpses to life. So I can't help but think, I don't know, maybe I'm just grasping at straws here, but I can't help but think that maybe Rob Zombie got a little bit of inspiration from this movie. Definitely the whole idea of dead people rising from, a incantation, and everything. You could definitely see some Evil Dead in this movie. Like I said, though, being a very slow burn and kind of taking almost an hour before it kicks into gear, you definitely, definitely has a Ty West kind of feel to it. But, oh man, this is a good movie. It's a really good movie. You got really interesting characters and stuff. And then to see them all get picked off, I can definitely say, I'd be willing to believe that, Bob Clark, I don't know if he ever even saw this movie, but, you definitely get some children shouldn't play with dead things kind of vibes. Just so many films feel like it's taken from movies like this. Maybe not this movie specifically, but the tropes of the movie, But this movie, it's wonderful. I love it. It's got everything I love about it. There is something I love about those 70s horror movies. The slow burns, they take a while to get going, but you're building towards something. You're getting your character development. You're getting, they're making the most. And, this movie's very low budget. You could tell even by just watching it, even without watching the bonus features, you could tell this wasn't a very big budget movie. It all takes place, in a very short amount of time on this one location. And so you could tell it wasn't a very big budget movie, but, good actors giving good performances. Some of the characters you love, some of them you hate, some of the characters you love to hate, and stuff like that. And you get to the third act and just all hell breaks loose. I love that kind of stuff. Oh man, I grew up watching so many of these 70s movies and to see this on 4K, and I cannot tell you how good this movie looks. You definitely get grain in the picture quality, but it is so weird how you get such a clean, crisp image off of this, because this is easily the best this movie has ever looked. And I gotta be honest, going into it as if, I would have been much more positive, if it had been, Severin or Vinegar Syndrome or Synapse or somebody else had done the 4K transfer on this, I have to admit I wasn't really going in with the highest of hopes, knowing that it was Kino. Kino transfers can be really, really spectacular sometimes, but there are times where their transfers are just kind of to just kind of mediocre. I know that's kind of the same thing, but I could not believe how good this movie looked. This is easily the best this movie has ever looked. It looks astonishing. And this movie definitely, with just the location, the whole Gothic atmosphere, the mansion and everything that they were shooting in, some of the great shots in this movie, like this movie just lends itself to 4K. Like one of the best scenes, personally, I think, where the 4K really flexes its muscles is near the end, where you have Faith Demorge's character. I keep wanting to say Domergue because Hateful Eight, because Demorge is pronounced the same, and that was the thing, it's like in Hateful Eight, they kept calling her, Daisy Domergue and everything. But then, that was I think Demorge is kind of like a hard name for a lot of people to pronounce. Because like in Hateful Eight, they always kept calling her Domergue, and there's like Domingre, and stuff like that. So I guess, or maybe there's just different ways to pronounce it. I don't know. Anyway, losing track. But, like the scene where the zombie is chasing her around the house, and you get these really like beautiful wide shots of the mansion. And you got these, here's like the second floor, here's like the third floor. She's running around up on the third floor. On the second floor, you got the shadow of the zombie lurking around and everything else. Looks really, really awesome. Great creepy atmosphere. Just really, really good. And, if you're into that kind of stuff, if you're going in hoping for a ton of blood and guts, it's a zombie movie, so there must be blood and guts all over the place, you're not going to get that. There is a little bit of blood and death and stuff, but, it's, this is more a movie about atmosphere, tension, building suspense, trying to be genuinely scary. If that's your kind of thing, and you love those kind of like old horror tropes and stuff like that, then yeah, you're going to love this movie. So, but anyway, here's the front of it. And there's the back. The bonus features, we got audio commentary by author and film historian David Del Valle and producer-director David Ducocto, Creepazoid's retro puppet master. Audio commentary by associate producer Gary Kent. Archival interview with actor John Carradine. This, honestly, if you get this, I honestly would just recommend avoid this. Demon Dave and Joe's Savage Tracks Volume 5 featuring Randy Cognata. I strongly recommend just bypassing that altogether. I couldn't even make it halfway through. Because, I put this thing on. I'm watching the movie, put this thing on, and it's just what's going on? Who's that? What's this person doing? Oh, where the hell are we at? What's going on? I don't know what this person's doing. Who's that actor? There is just so much of that. It's just like after a while, it's like, oh my fuck, I can't even watch this anymore. It's like, good Lord. Like, why are you guys doing a commentary track on this movie when you clearly don't know shit about it? It's like, oh my God. That was like not even 30 minutes in. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just so sick of these guys that know fuck all about this movie, talking about it, and just no, I can't do this. And one of the guys on there was like, yeah, I helped do the transfer and everything for when this was Severin had this. I helped do the transfer for the Blu-ray DVD combo that they had and all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, you helped do the transfer and everything for a movie fuck all about and everything else, but you're here talking about it. Like, I'm sorry. Sorry, sorry. Just, to me, I couldn't get through that, I don't mind the commentary with Del Valle and David Ducocto and, stuff. The other bonus features are fine. Just that one there is like, in my opinion, just avoid that crap. I wouldn't even bother with it. And then theatrical trailer. But, anyway, so yeah, there you go. Really nice slipcover. I love that artwork that they did for a slipcover. I don't know if this is even like an original poster art or anything like that for it, but I do like it. And this is, I definitely know this is one of the original poster art work for the film. So, Of course, being Kino, you know, you got the, yeah, not really anything different in terms of disc art. You know, just you gotta be careful. You know, make sure you get in the Blu-ray or the 4K, whichever one you're going for. And then got your reversible artwork, which is the same as slipcover. So, but you know, yeah. I mean, here it is. It's simple. It's basic, but you know, not every movie you need that, you know, like a, you know, super ridiculous, you know, edition of it or anything like that. You know, it's like, you know, I got me a nice slipcover with beautiful artwork. I know, you know, I know like a lot of people, I too can do without the banner at the top there. You know, it's like, dude, just, you know, like, yeah. Or just make it not so sticking out, not so much or whatever. But anyway, there you go. So yeah, this was actually a really nice surprise. I figured, and that was one of the things too, that's why I was kind of dead set on using the store credit that I got to get this. So I figured in case if I wasn't really thrilled with the transfer and all that stuff, I always be like, well, you know, I used store credit, didn't have to pay out of pocket to get it. So, but overall, I am very, very happy with it. Will we probably get another, you know, 4K of it somewhere down the line? Oh, I'm sure there'll be like an overseas 4K that's going to come out from, who the hell knows, you know, second sight, I don't know. But anyway, so, but you know what? This will do me just fine. I'm very happy with it. And like I said, I just cannot believe how beautifully this movie cleaned up for 4K. You know, it definitely is an improvement over. I did have the Severin Blu-ray DVD combo, and this is very much an improvement over that. And I do recommend picking this up. You know, if you're a fan of those great old slow burn 70s horror movies, you know, beautiful big kind of like Gothic mansion, you know, zombies and all that kind of great stuff, you know, I definitely recommend this movie. And I'm glad this got a 4K release, and I'm glad I got my hands on it. So I think that's about it. There's not much else I could say. But, you know, thank you, Kino Lorber, Kino Cult Line. You know, it's like, so like I said, sometimes their stuff could be hit and miss. They hit it with this one. This is a good one, and I'm happy for it. I'm here for it. So there we go. That, and I can't forget too, Eyes Wide Shut. Now add to the 4K collection. Thank you, Criterion. Now I think the only Kubrick movie we got left to get out on 4K is just Lolita. I kind of think though, considering the subject matter, I don't think anybody's in too much of a hurry to get that movie on 4K, which is, you know, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, it is a good movie. Anyway, so that's going to pretty much do it. So if anybody took the time to watch all of this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, would you mind leaving a like? If you haven't already, please go and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell, you know, all that good fun stuff. Comment if you have anything you want to talk about or anything you want to say. And that's it, everybody. Love your movie library. I'll love you back, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.